Good evening, my dear friends. I welcome you all to the Hindu and the Businessline editorial analysis on July 18th, 2022. The BJP's choice of the candidate, the governor of Bengal, Jagdeep Dhankar, has been adequately rewarded for his loyalty to the party in the Bengal show off since he took over as the governor of Bengal some years back. He was always in confrontation with Mamata Banerjee, the democratically elected government. In 2003, he joined BJP, and since then he has been a very sincere BJP loyalist. BJP portrays him as the son of the soil. He belongs to the Jat community in Uttar Pradesh and Haryana and Rajasthan. The Jat community is famous. He is coming from Rajasthan. He belongs to Rajasthan. The Jat community has dominance in Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, and Haryana. And those people were responsible for the farm agitations which saw India burning for particularly a good period of time. And Jat community adequately rewarded BJP in the Uttar Pradesh polls because the farm laws were repealed. The opposition, on the other hand, has selected Miss Margaret Alva, a very erudite speaker, just like Jaswant Sinha. She is from Karnataka, but the choice of the candidate is not going to move the needle of the political clock of the opposition. The 17 parties in the opposition have made both the choice of the presidential candidate and the vice presidential candidate without thinking of the deep political impact, the opportunity which these elections offered to them in the times of crisis against the majoritarian BJP. Then, Biden's first visit to the West Asia, visiting Israel, the West Bank, and the Saudi Arabia, has a very different approach to former presidencies which adopted towards the West Asia policy. The energy and the political stability among the Saudi Arabia and Israel are important for America now, because even Trump had favored the Abraham Accords to make friendship with the Saudi Arabia and Israel. The Obama administration, first he tried to bring the Iran on the nuclear deal. When he could not succeed, he looked at West Asia for a partnership with Saudi Arabia and Israel. Similarly, the same approach is being pampered by Biden while on his visit to the West Asia. He was critical of Iran for going ahead with its nuclear bomb program. He said he would do all possible things to stop the Iran from making the nuclear bomb. The hatred of Saudi Arabia and Israel towards Iran is being just encouraged by United States now with Biden's statements. Iran is already having a stalemate with the nuclear deal issue with United States. Why not United States pursue the nuclear deal with Iran and bring a peace in the region rather than flaring up the troubles and the warlike situation among Israel and Iran and Saudi Arabia and Iran? Trump has supported Saudi Arabia, forgetting that its transgression of the human rights by by the trial of 2018, the journalist the journalist Khashoggi, he was he was given capital punishment by Saudi Arabia, just transgressing, because he was a dissident, transgressing the human rights. This has been forgotten by United States in its policy towards West Asia. Then there are three photographs are discussed in the article, which shows that the propriety is at the compromising stage now. The first photograph is the Maharashtra Governor Kosheri offering laddus to the incumbent Chief Minister, the incoming Chief Minister Eknath Shinde. The second photograph shows the dancing on the assembly by the MLAs to support the new government in Maharashtra. And the third is the Prime Minister of India handing over the nomination of the presidential candidate Murmu to the Chief Election Commissioner. In three of these cases, it shows that the compromise of democratic values and constitutional values is being seen. What propriety is ensuring that the officer, the executive of the state, remain true and truthful to the ideals of the constitution. When a party leadership is offering laddus to the incoming chief minister, that is okay. But what about the governor? The governor offering sweets to celebrate the a political party's coming of power is not heard of. And MLAs dancing in the assembly. This shows that the contempt for the democratic values in the modern society, modern India. And when a prime minister is supporting the presidential candidate by personally filing her nomination papers, this also shows that the chief executive of the country is just forgetting the propriety aspects of the seat in which he is occupying. However, unfortunate for the country, the Chief Election Commissioner is not budging. He is remaining truthful to his seat and not offering laddus. This is what the three pictures show, the deviation from the propriety in the democratic values which India represents. Then the US elections are coming in 2024. The midterm elections are scheduled in November. Both the Biden and the Democrats Biden and the Republicans Trump have no chance of standing and winning for the 2024 elections, as shown by the New York Times and the several reports, several surveys, which says that the old age of Biden and he is 79 years old now, and the job performance is showing a Jimmy Carter or the senior Kennedy, the Edward Kennedy era, where they were primarily rejected on account of the job performance. The Trump is nudged out by Republicans because of the host of criminal charges against him on the onslaught of the Capitol Hill after losing the elections in January. So, both the candidates have no clear slot of winning in the next presidential election. However, Republicans do not want Trump to be projected in the coming November midterm elections, because they want to project Biden's policies on the policy failures on inflation, the recession, and the American economy in the coming election, midterm election. Then the airfares, moving on to the business line, the airfares having a cap. The cap means the highest price, and the floor means the lowest price below which the airfare should not go, is just disturbing the growth of the airline sector, because in off season we can see that the volumes, the aeroplanes are filled with the help of the throwaway prices being offered by the airlines. What happens with this cap and floor prices is that an airline cannot go beyond the cap price, and the airline cannot go below the floor price. So the throwaway prices are not applicable in the off seasons now, because going below the floor price will catch the violation of the regulations, and the cap is being regulated only in the cases where the within 15 days, the booking within 15 days is made, the cap is applicable. So it shows that a person who is having a very planned trip, more than 15 days, the planned trip, he will have to pay cuff of more amount than the person who is booking the air tickets within the 15 days. The aviation fuel prices have gone up, and this has prompted government to impose a cap and the floor price on the airlines. Many airlines are saying that the cap prices should be done away with, because the floor prices should remain, because this will stop some of the undercutting of the airline fares. However, the cap must go. Such regulations are just disturbing the growth of the airline sector, and Indigo Airlines is the only airlines which is making profits now. Then there is the question of whether the internationalization of rupee and the free exchange rate fixing between the member countries of India is going to have any kind of benefit at all. Because, for example, take the case of Russia. We have the imports and exports bilateral trade with Russia. Imports are to the tune of $3 billion, and exports are to the tune of $9 billion. The rupee exchange or the internationalization of trade is applicable only till $3 billion. So India stands to lose, because $6 billion we have to trade without having this kind of coverage. So, however, India is saying that the balance amount can be used for investing in the treasury bonds. Just look at, in the long term, if the foreign countries are having say in our treasury bonds, and this is a very precarious position. The foreign countries hold on the treasury bonds, and the next hiccup which is going to occur is to look at some countries who are having rate surplus with India. They are South Africa, the Korea, and Turkey. Turkey is having 93% of depreciation against the dollar, where India is having 6% depreciation against the dollar. Would you think Turkey would accept a rupee based exchange rate with the lira, the Turkish lira? It is not possible, because the dollar would come in between. The exchange rate has to be just fixed based upon the dollar. So this is not feasible. Then again, the thing what happens is that the capital account convertibility, rupee is not convertible. The capital account convertibility is not possible with the rupee. So in many cases, the capital account convertibility has to be of the internationalization. For internationalization of the rupee, the convertibility of rupee has to be made, because most of the countries, the rupee convertibility factor will play in their bilateral trade with other countries. Then, if India doesn't want to irk USA, who is having good relations with India, the sidelining of the dollar will not work. So these are some factors which play a major role in internationalization of rupee. Then we are thinking about reducing emissions, carbon emissions by 2030. We have nationally determined goals, the determined goals NSG and NDG, which we have already given to the Paris Agreement. In 2015, we made this NDG, and we want to reduce emissions by around 30%. And for that, 40% non-fossil fuels we are going to adopt as energy. So what happens is that copper is a very major thing which plays a major role in electric vehicles, and it is a non-fossil fuel which will have kind of just producing electricity and helping in electric transmission. So using copper as an electrical transmitter helps a lot. However, from a exporter of 3,33,000 million tons of copper, India has become a net importer to the extent of 3 lakhs million tons. This is because the copper plant in Tuticorin, the Vedanta's Sterlite Industries in Tuticorin, was put on closure because of court cases and some strikes happening there. We have to reopen the plant at Sterlite in Tuticorin to help to meet the demand of copper, which is a non-fossil fuel. India aims to have the zero net emissions by 2070. If this has to be achieved, the copper metal plays a very good role, and we have to reopen the plant at Tuticorin. Friends, I have come to the conclusion of today's analysis of the Hindu and the Businessline. Meet you tomorrow with some good analysis. Till then, bye. Take care.